XR native generation, immersive experience. Leaf develops tools and platforms for capturing experiences in XR.
For anyone who is thinking about doing it, there's no better time than now.
Yes.
What would you say you are?
I guess this one, like a mix between a designer and engineer. Designing spatial interactions, you need to think about how elements will move in the space, right? And for this, you need to develop some algorithms, probably, or some kind of model their behavior. And for this, I also do sub-prototypes. It won't be some kind of feeling that it's something separated from us. It will be just one continuum. When you design game experience, you're thinking about not about remove friction. You just think, is it fun or not? You are a monkey and you just hanging out with other monkeys. Usually it's Unity for quick prototypes. People sometimes like a little bit afraid of coding, programming. I think they shouldn't be, because AI, it really helps to do this. So when you design for VR, there's a rule: do not use translucency. It's not about creating artifacts, it's about having ownership and responsibility.
I will, if you're really interested, just to jump straight in and actually ask you about the most interesting, maybe XR, MR or VR experience you created maybe recently that you're like most happy with. You feel like, oh, actually, this is part of the future of how experiences we have together.
Yeah, I think I have a pet project. It's called Boxel XR. So it's a voxel editor. It's a Boxel XR, but it's about voxels. So you can create voxels. Essentially, it's a pixel in the 3D. So we can treat this some the simplest kind of analogy. It's just your Lego. You create, you construct some figures or buildings or whatever you want with just little cubes or systems of cubes. Probably some people might play Grassy Roads or something. And there was some kind of boxy characters there. Okay. You need to cross a road and not be killed by vehicles. So, yeah, and this editor allows you to actually create something there. And recently I was thinking about, is it possible to use your hands for this? So, and kind of made a bunch of prototypes, how you can replace precise controllers with just your hands. Kind of right now I'm working on the new version of Boxel where you use hands to interact. So it's kind of a nice thing. I hope that when it will be ready, we will have some
new hands.
Yes, so which will provide more kind of precise input that is not relying on your just computer vision.
With that though, are you saying so? It's not that you're working on something called voxel.
Yeah.
And is that the software or the thing you're making? Have you named it voxel, or is that a thing?
Yeah. It's
Is that the existing thing?
Yes. It's an editor.
And so with this experience, you can build like a pixel, right? You can build like polygon model.
Yeah.
More basic.
Yeah.
And so what you've been working on is an interface where you see, like maybe you're saying maybe like, is it the menu or something like that? You see, what are you seeing with the interaction? You're saying with your, what is the user seeing, and how is that the future?
I think the future that you can, let me say this, it's new type of patterns, how you can interact, because usually we get used to use some kind of mediators, some like a mouse, like a controller to achieve a precise input. So I think in the future, what will happen, we will turn our existing tools, biological tools, hands, into like digital augmentations for inputs. For example, you could I don't know, doing some different types of pinches. You can I don't know, select different mode or apply different transformations. Yeah, kind of.
Okay.
If you saw some fantasy, sci-fi movies when you do some passes with your hands and something happening, so I guess this is quite close to what I mean.
So for you, this sounds like what the future is. Almost, it's the way it's the interaction, right? Yeah. So the method of interacting, which is kind of already there, right? With the bubble band, it's happening. We've got different channels, and we can control, for example, some of the display type glasses where obviously you had the projection on your screen or HUD.
Yeah.
And so we kind of got that already now. So you're saying the next step in VR and mixed reality will be, well, actually you'll be playing the game and you won't need the control. It won't be a control.
Yes.
Through neural back.
Yeah. So yeah, we kind of turn our body into input.
Yeah.
We already have the body is quite complex. You already know how to use this. So I think the next step is just to use it and convert into meaningful data. And before, we already had this like hand tracking systems, but the main bottleneck with them and the main problem that it relies on environment, lighting, right? The speed of movement, the quality, kind of cameras, right? Some biological things as well. So once we remove this component, so we do not rely on computer vision purely, I think, it will be a next step when we can kind of present the virtual reality, augmented reality to large audience, and they will think, oh, that's quite useful. I can use it.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think that interaction, because the fidelity of what glasses and so on can see, that will naturally improve in the same way that computer games. We've got, compute PlayStation, Xbox, and although every year, the next generation, the jump isn't that huge into graphics, right? So the graphical prowess gets to a kind of point of no return.
Yes.
And so we're going to have that fidelity visually. We're going to have that to hand. That's obviously a no-brainer, but making it actually something you can use in your environment day to day. I guess, I've not thought about the interaction, the way you interact almost as that is one of the most future facing things, right?
Yeah. And this is the most challenging because we don't have an established paradigm, so we don't know how to do this, and it's kind of R&D process, which is, by the way, for me, it's the most exciting part. So because you play a lot, have fun, experiment.
What would you say to someone that he said, well, why do we need to worry about the way we're interacting with things in terms of having some sort of neural band where you can interact when we can just use our voice?
It depends on a particular case, because if you it's just faster, right? For example, if you learn how to type blind method, so you can type very quickly. You can type faster than you speak, right? So I think with enhancement, AI enhancement, you can even push the speed. It just will be much, much faster. So, and yeah, I think this is the main benefit of using different types of inputs, like hands, for example. So yeah, I by the way, I had a prototype when I tried to just use pinches as a way to input something. So you just I don't know, you change mode, you select different types of pinches, or you can touch different finger on your for example. The right hand touches another finger on the opposite hand, the left one, and you select a certain type of character. It feels very slow when you start. And usually when you start, for example, learn how to write, it's also very slow. Or you start reading or whatever, it's very slow. But surprisingly, once you learn this, it's quite quick. So imagine that you mastered this. And yeah, it's just much faster than speaking.
I think that's the key thing, isn't it? Is that it's just not always one. It's not always the best one. Yeah. It always, right? Where the environment you're in. So someone might say, well, actually, like making most people are actually faster at speaking than typing.
Yeah,
I am.
For a wobbler, yeah.
But obviously it's your environment. And then sometimes you do need a physical interaction because it's more nuanced. No, just saying something, right? There's more detail or context that needs to be provided, or we have eyes, we're human.
Yes.
So we still need that. We still need that. I think we had someone on at the last one of the previous podcasts, and I think there was a really good point that they said is that, if you're designing the things that are going to evolve, the things that are not going to change very much, the fact that we're humans, because we have two eyes, we're going to have a mouth, we're going to have ears, and eyes and so on. So like we are still going to need to probably want to use our eyes to interact, to have a visual space as well as maybe an audio based one. And I was going through them, and how do you decide what next idea you're going to come up with? Because obviously you could do anything. Sometimes you might obviously have to do it because it's part of work. And there's a problem that's come up and you're going to explore things, but obviously you do just explore things out of interest. So how do you come up with, what makes you come up with an idea? Why do you decide to pursue a certain thing? Because I looked through some of your ideas and there was a lot of interaction based ones using hands. There was like gaming type interactions. And I would say, what was the other type of one? Like typing. Typer was the other one.
I consider this as some kind of hobby, right? And because it's a hobby, and I have other types of hobby, right? Like driving Miata, or playing guitar, or I don't know, watching Netflix, or just do nothing. This implementing or designing these ideas kind of compete with them. Yeah, I have poor ideas. Usually I just write them down in my notes, and when I feel that, it will be fun, I'll spend the whole weekend just creating this. It's more interesting than watching TV show or just playing guitar or something else. So if I feel that it will be fun, I do this. So if it's not fun, I think, okay, maybe later.
And I think the fact that a lot of your pro sites are around, like I said, like using your fingers to interact with some sort of menu maybe, and then also typing, like keyboard kind of interactions. I guess that feeds into why you're doing it. Because, as you say, you believe that like interaction, the way you interact is one of the gaps at the moment you actually experience it. And so you're like, okay, there's a lot of opportunity, a lot of exploration that needs to be done there. And that would be like filter you down some new ideas.
And this is a value, how companies will sell this type of experience, because right now it's quite awkward, to be honest. The input, especially if you use hand tracking, there's a lot of false positives. And if you compare this experience with desktop experience, right? Obviously, desktop experience or mobile is more precise. It's more familiar, and you might be kind of concerned that is it worth just switching or using. Again, considering the price as well, it's not super cheap. Actually, it's faster and it's more convenient. So, like I just was driving here, and like I was thinking, it would be super nice. I just got your notification where you are, like. So it would be nice if I just, I don't know, there would be your avatar, and with my voice or just eyes, I could trigger the answer. So it would be much nicer. And so this is what we'll sell.
Like, how would you describe, we know that we have UX designers, kind of, there's that route, and then we have UI designers, and we have Figma mix, and we have product designers, and with prototypers. So what would you say you are, and how would you describe in like maybe 1 or 2 lines?
I guess this one, like a mix between a designer and engineer. You do both. You design something, you know, or you don't know how to implement, but you will learn how to do this. And you actually have a working production, sometimes production ready system, interactive systems that might be integrated in the product.
Yeah.
Or you already work inside kind of production cycle. So yeah, this type. But it's not new, to be honest. I think when I started my career, there was a role called webmaster. So essentially, you did everything. You designed a website. You kind of using HTML, CSS, JavaScript. You made it an interactive, and then you attach this to some kind of content management system or just connect it to database. It seems like the industry started be more focused, and I had to decide, okay, am I going to be a developer or a designer? So at that time I was thinking, oh, this is to be a designer. And I'm glad that in XR, spatial computing, AR, mixed reality, whatever, because we do not have a proper tools to design and prototype, you kind of forced to learn dev tools.
So what is the tool? So people could be wondering, seeing your prototypes and so on, what do you use? I guess it's not like, of course, Bezi was gaining traction.
Yeah.
Over a year ago, they pivoted now to focus more on gaming, and I thought that was going to be a tool that would kind of be that more easy entry point into 3D design, and also being able to do super high fidelity prototyping without having to do the code piece.
Yeah, that was great.
It's like it's from the other way around now, because obviously now with AI you can vibe code with, but also create a realistic prototype. And so what do you use?
By the way, speaking about such kind of designers friendly tools, ShapeXR, it's still there. So they're developing this tool.
It is because ShapeXR, obviously you go into the headset.
Yeah.
As one fitness, but now they're designing it for a desktop experience.
Yeah, they also have state systems, animations. So I sometimes use it. Just to quickly block out scenes. But mainly I use, I think it depends on the platform, depends on type of project. For example, if I know that I'll be the one who will be responsible for implementing this type of interaction, for example, for Unreal, I will be doing this. But usually it's Unity for quick prototypes, but I can use Xcode if it's something related to vision-wise.
So would you say someone who's thinking about getting into this space and they had to start working at things, obviously they just need to explore them, to play with them and actually use them. But let's assume they're doing all of that. They've really got a big passion for like using tools. They're always in the headset and playing with VR, MR, XR related tools. Would you say you strongly encourage them to maybe use Unity and start building that muscle? Or do you feel like, no, you don't need to do that? Or what would you say?
If they have this curiosity, like, oh, I want to explore this because I want to work, I don't want to be limited by design tools, right? Because all design tools, they kind of encapsulate conventional approaches, how you design things, right? Because they have systems that helps you to do this. Devs tools, you can create whatever you want, but there's obvious friction. So because there are less amount of abstractions, kind of needs to create them. So I think it depends on your journey. If you see that, you want to work on experimental R&D type of projects, probably it's worth exploring. People sometimes like a little bit afraid of coding, programming. I think they shouldn't be, because AI, it's really helps to do this. So I'm not mean that generate something, which is also kind of sometimes might be useful, but learn how to do this. Essentially, you have modern age Aristotle, which always happy to help you. So and you don't feel bad when you torture ChatGPT with your own stupidity. So
if you just want to do a process, you have an idea and it's a one-off, and you know it's a one-off, it's just one idea, and you just want to see it analyzed, then you could use maybe ShapeXR. That'd be the good thing to do. But if you're serious about actually, I want to maybe get into this space, maybe start putting on my LinkedIn that I can, and what do you say? We said design engineer, and say put XR in it. Then you probably will need to Unity if you're going to. And in terms of learning, it's a very different moment than a few years ago, because the AI does significantly speed up that learning phase. Instead of watching lots of YouTube videos and scrolling to parts and rewatching parts, and repeats and things, you can ask very targeted questions, obviously, with AI. It's just really a lot faster. So for anyone who is thinking about doing it, it probably is. There's no better time than now.
Yes, exactly. And this is, for me, these systems, AI systems, really feels like extension of your mind. And this is a little bit ironic, that Google didn't do this. They discovered transformers, right? And I always would think, like, it would be nice if each time you Google something, it would be nice to reuse this, right? Because you remember, I Googled something. And you need to do this again. And the only hint you have, this is just purple links. Probably I already cleared this. So it's such ridiculous that they didn't seize this opportunity. And for example, ChatGPT, you just open this and you have this structure, you have folders, all these questions you already asked, you remember spatially where it's located, so you can quickly find them. And you sometimes you just don't need to ask it, you just can find. That's amazing, really.
Obviously, we've been talking for a fair bit of time now. We still haven't asked you where you work, because some people might have heard of your company, which is Lim. They don't know that. And for anyone who isn't aware of what Liv does, how would you describe it to them in just a few sentences?
Liv develops tools and platforms for capturing experiences in XR, let's say. So, but it's more broad. So in general, video games, immersive apps. So probably there is a higher likelihood, if you saw some cool VR trailer or mixed reality video, it was done with Liv tools, or it was done by Liv itself. We have production studio. So the main idea that you experience something in XR, right? But you don't have a good way to share this experience with other people. Like in real life, if you saw something, if you see something cool, you just take your phone, take a picture, right? So, but in VR, there is some tools about the mission for Liv to make it very easy to use and reliable and easy to share with your friends, family, and fans and other people. So this is a very great place to work.
I think the example I always think of when I think of Liz, and again for people, you've probably seen it, those of you are missing or watching this, is that Beat Saber. You see a person,
Yeah.
they're doing this, the camera's probably a 45-degree angle from behind, and you can see them and their whole environment. So you might think, well, why don't I just film myself and just have the screen of what they're seeing?
Yeah.
But then it would be 2D, right? You'd have the 2Ds here, you'd have the person here, and then all the rest of that space around would obviously be black because it'd be a rectangle with the image. So instead of it being a rectangle of the image, it's encapsulating the whole 360-degree space. So it just obviously looked way more of a...
Yeah. Plus, you can, some of our tools allow you to record your real version and mix this with you in the game. So which kind of also creates very nice, engaging content.
One of the gaming VR XR, I would keep YouTube channels that I subscribe to. It's the Oasis. I'm sure. I remember if you've seen this. But he certainly, the creator there, certainly uses Live all these videos to make it work. And I don't know how his YouTube channel would even really work if he didn't have Live. Because I mean, it cuts to, obviously, sometimes it's just a game, and it's obviously it's 2D, but all of it to show himself in the experience and make it, really feel like you're in it. I mean, he almost certainly does. So that's a fantastic tool, and I can imagine Twitch being, obviously, that's a really popular place to be used, right?
Yes, and we also have another projects, like, for example, we have LCK camera, it's called, in Gorilla Tag. They have this camera experience.
What like Gorilla Tag is crazy.
Yeah, that's
anyone. What if you've not heard of Gorilla Tag? What?
This is a
very popular game, right? It's a popular VR game, and
you are a monkey and you just hanging out with other monkeys. So this is quite interesting. That first time I tried this. The locomotion system, you just move with your hands.
No legs. It's a dog.
Yeah, and you feel like, and if you need to change some interface, you need to go physically, kind of move your hands, go to a certain room, and change settings. Then you, just leave this place. And if you forgot that, I actually wanted to change another thing. The color of my hat, you need to go back. So it seems like very tedious, but it's really works. So it's rewarding. You kind of, it's a different type of user experience. Usually, if you are a product designer, you kind of think about removing frictions, right? But with when you design game experience, you thinking not about removing friction. You just think, is it fun or not? So it's kind of I like to work on this project.
What do you feel about when you go online and you're playing games, the age kind of, there is a lot of young people there playing, and do you think that's going to change, or do you think that's just been like, do you think we will see more adults in online gaming with VR and so on, particularly VR? If it was Call of Duty, say, then you do see more. You do tend to, well, it'll be now to be playing with adults for older people, but with VR, it does seem to be a lot of young people when you go.
Yeah, I think young people found in this medium, it allows you to reconnect with physicality. So because my generation, for example, I remember when people just were hanging out on the streets, right? But I think this generation naturally missing this with the internet, with all the screens, social nets. I think what VR allows you to do, to have this somatic experience. Like, for example, if you are in Gorilla Tag or VR Chart, and there's an avatar, you feel like it's a person, right? And you do not need to talk. You just see this extra linguistic communication, right? Hand, body movements, sometimes facial kind of features. So I think this is what young people find appealing. So this is a room for being expressive and at the same time have this truly social experience, because it's obviously we can't say like texts, I don't know, using messengers or some social nets, classical text-based, media-based social nets. It's kind of social experience because you share your thoughts, feelings, but VR, XR generally provides immersive social experience, which is very close to the real one. So I think this is what...
Obviously, you've gone into this space. What was the thing that made you suddenly, go all in on this space? You've invested a lot of time. You've really, you are an early adopter of this. And there are lots of people who are probably thinking, oh, actually, is this a sort of kind of skill I should be developing, or be developing another skill? Where's the space going? I think it's good to say that now. I think we've got a good confidence that AR is going to be going forward. I think there was a moment in time with obviously VR, and that was touch and go. But I think there will be AR experiences going forward. Obviously, that's my purely opinion based. But what was the thing that really inspired you to get into it?
There was a movie called The Lone Mower Man.
Oh, it's Mower Man. Yeah, Mower Man. I thought I always thought you were going to say Ready Player One. But you say that's very recent.
Yes. So it was just crazy for me that, first of all, when I watched as a kid, like, oh, there's some... I already played video games, and what the movie showed, that you not only can play video games and have this separation, like you have a screen, you actually can be inside the game. And moreover, you can affect the reality through the fact that you are in the game. So this is kind of this singularity point, right? Some kind of vision that at certain point we just blur our realities, and we just call this like just reality. Even when we think about the reality, we use abstraction. It's not real, right? Our understanding about, our vision about reality, it's not the reality. So, and it's kind of interesting that won't be some kind of feeling that it's something separated from us. It will be just one continuum when we will live. Probably it will take a few generations, obviously. Some kind of XR native generation, right? But I think we will be there.
For anyone who's not seeing it, and I haven't seen it, but I know, is it not the one where the main character has spikes coming out of their head?
I saw this when actually it came out. It was...
It's also... wasn't it a horror film?
Yeah, it was horror.
Yeah.
And I checked
You really thought?
I checked the name yesterday, and I was surprised that it has just five rating is just 5 out of 10.
Okay.
Because for me it was 100 out of 10.
It's the point. I'm getting mixed up with another film. I've heard of Mower Man, but the image I'm thinking of is for a different film. But yeah, okay. So it's they go in. You're saying they go into basically it's VR, right?
Yes.
Cool. So you saw that film, came out in 1992. For anyone who does want to follow up and watch it, I just did some interesting things about it. What we got sci-fi. So quite a long film, almost 2 hours.
Yeah.
And Piers Brosnan was in it.
Yeah.
Which I was, wow, I bet he is a lot younger than. Okay. The son probably the one that people will know. And Dean Norris, anyone who doesn't know Dean Norris, he's the cop in Breaking Bad.
Yeah, throw over there.
He's the guy who's always, he's in the main column.
Yeah. This is what make me think, oh, it would be nice to be able to do something like this. Yeah. So it took quite a while to get access to this type of technology. So eventually, first time I tried this, it was 2015. I think the main point you understand that it's not only something I don't know, just for fun, but also can be your work when large companies start investing. So you kind of see that it's not only your vision, there's also other people who were paid also do this. So this like, oh, that's interesting. I might spend more time doing this. So because it will potentially it might be my work, my job.
Okay, I wanted to ask about your motion craft and how you actually do it. So what is your process? Like just like fairly, bite-sized way of describing your process from a start to end. Like what come up the idea, made it sketch, I don't know, and then coming out to the thing that maybe you share on or you share.
Yeah. Right now I just have an idea and try visualize.
Visualize it for drawing, or do you
just in my head. So
you get free to effectively code it?
No. Then I use paper. Yeah. So, but mainly just playing with the idea in your head. Then paper. Then you open Figma. You do some kind of visual design. It's 2D, obviously, but it still helps you to essentially create blueprints. Then, depending on the need, if it requires some 3D assets, I use Blender. It's free, so and powerful. And then I open Unity usually because it's much quicker than other platforms. Obviously, a skill issue. I just know this better. So, and yeah, just implement this.
Okay, so you have the idea, then it's sketch, you sketch it out.
Yes.
And then you might make some assets. You go to Blender.
Yes, for assets.
For the different assets. So if it's
Figma,
one,
you're
going to use that has to be free.
Yeah.
You go to Blender, and then you move into Unity.
Yeah, and there are also a few stages. Like for example, if I'm designing spatial interactions, you need to think about how elements will move in the space, right? And for this, you need to develop some algorithms, probably, or some kind of model their behavior. And for this, I also do sub-prototypes to explore one of these algorithms. A good thing that, because it's separate from the main project, it might be reused for other projects as well. Once I'm happy with the behavior, I start making everything in one single prototype. So, yeah. But once you done this many times, you already have some library. Like, oh, I already have a set of icons. I already have scripts that do this behavior. I already done this tens of times, like special things, math, and you like, it's more straightforward. Obviously, if you look at this without having all this supporting work, right? All these libraries, your own libraries, it might feel like, oh, this kind of the whole production cycle.
Obviously, there are a lot of devices now, aren't there? There's the Quest there, and there's obviously glasses now coming to fruition. There's obviously Vision Pro, and lots of obviously more third-party kind of platforms that could be used. Like, what do you usually use? What are you designing for? Are you what one do you design for, and why do you design it?
Yeah, obviously it's first it's Quest. there's just adoption. You have more users. It's more accessible to buy as well. This is another thing why I have. By the way, I have all generations.
Yeah.
Starting from Quest Go, which
Wow.
wasn't good, to be honest, but Quest 1 was, it was really a really good device.
The Quest 2 in this one, but I don't have the Vision Pro. I think you.
Yeah, I heard. So this is my main, and because many developers work with it, it has good integration with developers too for quick iterations on Windows, unfortunately only. And because other developers work with it, it has large audience, and at work, my job also, we work with other developers, so we develop tools for the largest platform. So plus it's very quick. You can quickly iterate with it. I like it. And another thing that once you created some experience, and this is, by the way, a general problem when you create XR experience, right? Okay, I'm there. It's so cool how to share with other people.
Yeah.
Right. Obviously, Leaf tries to do this with video and different tools, so you can kind of direct this, but you should work as a director. Essentially, you create a kind of movie to convey the feeling. So, but the easiest way, it's not the easiest, but the most appropriate way, just share this to allow other people to try this, right? So, and what Quest allows you to do, just quickly you created a prototype or a little game. You exported this as a APK, and anyone can install this. So, for example, almost all these prototypes I share, they're available as APK files. So, and when people ask me, "Oh, can I try this?" Yeah, this is a great thing. But I like Visualize. When people compare this with Quest, I think it's not fair, because it's like comparing Android device with powerful standalone computer. So even the chip on Quest, it's mobile chip, and on Vision Pro, it's a chip that you have in your MacBook, right? So it's obviously they achieve high level of fidelity, high level of quality in terms of graphics, and probably the most exciting part, when you design for VR, there's a rule: do not use translucency, do not use opacity. And you're like, as a designer, you're like, but using transparency allows, especially for mixed reality, right? It allows you to integrate your UI into the environment, right? But your developers like, no, it's extremely expensive, so use opaque panels.
So you're saying your inclination when you're designing the VR or XR is to use transparency?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you're saying it's more of a constraint from engineering. I would rather you not.
It's not like engineering. It's more that it's kind of related to the fact that it's a mobile phone. So it's a natural constraint. You can't use graphics that you would use on PC.
Okay.
On mobile phone, right? So you need to, because it will affect performance. And in case of VR, you might not notice frame drop when you play on PlayStation, right? So no, it's kind of missed.
It's a performance intensity.
Yeah. But in VR, if you have frame drop, it might cause kind of physical reactions, motion sickness. So you literally kind of feel this bad effect. So this is why usually when you design for mobile platform, you prioritize stable frame rate over potential expressiveness design. So yeah, but it's interesting that Apple have a dedicated chip that does this. So it's really impressive. I hope eventually other companies will catch up. So you kind of need to make a trade-off. Obviously, there is $3,500 and $300. It's you, as a company, you need to decide. Okay, I want adoption, early adoption, and large audience, or I want to create just kind of vision, right?
How do you feel about, in a world where we can obviously with AI, generative AI, how do you feel as someone like this space? For example, if I were going to be in a design system, focus on design system, I might be a bit concerned. I've spoken to people who work design systems, and they feel that they might want to move away from being a design systems type person, and for that reason. And again, that's not fact, of course. That's what I've heard from those people, and I know what you do is in design system developer, but it is very high on the UI field, right? You're the equivalent, you're equivalent of UI side, but in XR, but obviously you have the ability with engineering to actually build them into the first sites. Do you feel that it's a problem with AI, like generative AI, to make it, or do you feel like no, it's pretty safe? Like
I think we are safe. Don't worry.
You're good. Yeah. That's good to know. Anyone who considering getting into it, obviously,
Yeah.
it's all good.
It's okay. Plus, again, obviously, it will raise the baseline. Obviously.
Yeah.
So now you have a good looking system just for free almost, right?
Effectively, yeah, AI will will help, but it will always be in service of the designer who's doing it.
Yes.
Tool to make
yes.
It wouldn't take someone's job because it is good. Could it not be so good that you don't need, just hypothetically, would it not be so good that you couldn't, like, you might spend time building it, as you said, to take quite a bit of time, and when you could just say what it is, and then it would make that post up, and then you'd iterate by prompts or so. But just did to counteract that.
I think again, but who would do this? The product manager or the owner of the business? Okay, I'm going to. I don't need. I will fire our designer, and we'll do this on my own. Okay, I have a system that generates beautiful graphics, but for what? What kind of? First off, you need to realize, is there a problem, and what kind of problem you need to solve? What would you do in this case? You would ask ChatGPT, what kind of problem I need to solve with this UI, right? Yeah. So if you understand, it's not about creating artifacts, it's about having ownership and responsibility. Yeah. So if you are, for example, a CEO, and you also have responsibility for UI, it means that you just have extra responsibility.
The same thing that we're talking about with like XR, VR, and so on, is it applies, from what you're saying, applies even to the design, right?
Yeah, obviously.
You're just saying that really, yeah, there will be AI co-pilots and so on. It will speed up our work. Yes. But ultimately, you need the designers still to do it. The argument is maybe you don't, one, need as many, or two, you don't need as many people doing the lower level type stuff, which is putting together the kind of simple kind of the mocks and so on.
Oh yeah, obviously.
So you don't need that. You need the people, the more of a hybrid.
Yeah.
Also one who's doing it at a high level. So that's what we're really saying, aren't we? We're saying, well, it feels like what you're saying is that, yeah, the tools you will be able to plug in, you will be able to come up with some. You need someone who's going to do that.
Yeah,
the CEOs or the directors or whoever is not going to do that. We still need the designer, and the argument could be the engineer does that, because now you're saying you're an engineer, design engineer.
Yeah.
We've got more design engineers, and then we've got engineers who do design, and they're design engineers, and so you could say like the merging of it together, and you still need someone to do it, but maybe there's less roles required consequently, surely.
Generally what, for example, all these design engineers thing, obviously it narrows my responsibility.
Yeah.
It makes it deeper, right? Because now I'm responsible not only for good looking UI, working experience, not working interactions, and I'm also responsible for stability of the experience in the production. So I think it just the race of design engineers, it just will increase the quality of our products, because now you have a person, a designer, that takes the responsibility for delivering this experience to the user.
I think we've had some like conversations about AI as well.
Yeah.
And obviously those conversations this podcast started at the start of this year. And in that year, the conversations have changed, right? That's outside of less, right? Not, it's not going to be a problem. And then time went on and then felt like more of a concern. It was like a concern is almost going away a little bit. It's like, is it because what have we seen? I guess we are using them now. And we say, even if they are really good, we can see like, there's so much to do, isn't it?
Yes.
It's so convoluted. Companies want to move fast, so you're still going to need more designers. Like if you want to move fast, or
Yes,
they're going to need to just hire more, because although you can get more done, everyone can get more done.
yes, obviously.
So to compete against them, you want to go faster, and you need more people to do it. So it's like it's a needs must situation, isn't it? So
yeah,
I think it feels like in this whole year, but it's got more positive. Whether that will continue, of course.
Yes, yeah, I think it just will be positive. Will have positive effect on the industry generally. Again, because once we raised the baseline for quality, right, the differentiator, or let's say now every UI looks like it was made in Apple or Meta, right? The quality, like it's good looking, it's the composition fine, typography, color combinations, interactions, kind of also nice. Yes, but the question, like, okay, now we have this baseline, it's fine, but the differentiator, how the depth of integrating this UI, this kind of artifacts, to the experience itself.
Yeah.
So is it tailored to the experience? How deep do you understand your users and their needs? And this is what kind of it's always been like this. It was the main. If your title was UI designer, you design the experience, right? But now it will be more prominent, I would say. So maybe we stop using this stupid separation UI UX finally.
I love looking at going back to your pro sites.
Maybe.
Link it to what we just saying. You obviously talk about pro sites and so on. And I love looking at your pro sites, and you're quite active, aren't you, on LinkedIn and so on, and you share them on there. And I'm sure maybe if anyone's listening or watching this, you inevitably would have seen one of Oleg's pro concepts. Is there anything that you're working on now in particular that you're most excited about, of a particular prototype, but you've got an idea? If you can share, of course. Is there something that you kind of going, I'm going to explore this now?
Yeah, I can tell you about my working projects, but I can tell you about Boxel XR again. This is hand tracking thing. So I'm also exploring. There's some APIs for alternatives for Meta's wrist bands.
For the wrist.
Yeah, I'm kind of preparing all this to the whole system. Once I have access to this, I will switch to to this, not just computer vision based input. So I can do some preparation in terms of abstractions.
So therefore, you're kind of thinking this next idea is going to incorporate.
Yes, it just will provide much faster, more engaging experience. And another thing,
Do you think it's the move for a headset? Do you think it's the move for glasses?
The best part that it can be for everything. Now I'm kind of always, when I start my projects, I'm trying to abstract from the device, make these abstractions. So for me, it's just the way how you display things. Display and input it just input our devices. So I think,
is it a game? Really? Is it an interact? Can you speak to it? Or maybe rather not?
No, it's a bunch of things. Another thing that I'm exploring, it's we already have a ton of devices in our home, smart home, all this stuff, right? And they're quite accessible. Like, for example, you can buy IKEA's things. So I'm thinking how once we have mainstream glasses, right, how we could integrate the system. So how to make them communicate. So there are already a lot of explorations.
That sounds really cool, but you can, so you potentially, we've got smart home devices.
Yeah.
We've got we've got TVs, we've got iPods, we've got the Apple next year.
Yes.
Robot you know about this, right?
I've seen prototype. It's really cool, and I like what I like about this in terms of design, that you if you obviously, if you can afford this, you can zone your living space with this, right? You don't need to have a TV. You can kind of free. I think the coolest thing, how it will affect the way how we live, how we structure our apartments, like living space, because you don't need, if you have glasses and you wear glasses, like you also have them, you probably you don't need TV, right? You can any time, it's just the panel will appear there, so you don't need a lot of things. Even the color of the sofa, right? You can change this. Probably it will be, everything will be gray, right? Because it will be easy to augment. So the color of these devices, or maybe in the future.
So you're saying people will buy things gray because they could be able to change the color easily.
Yes. Or you might have a special artificial texture, right? Not almost every nowadays texture is artificial, but like kind of interactive texture. You also feel, oh, this is wood, but you can change this, right? It's metal. It feels like metal.
Okay.
Because it can interact with your fingers and change haptics.
The metal.
Yeah. Some kind of electric impulses that trick your brain. Oh, this is metal or something.
Yeah, okay.
This is.
I know about that before with how you could change maybe material. When you're looking around, I thought there's some photos behind the camera here. And I thought you were thinking, oh, okay, you don't need those photos, because obviously that would be that. It's kind of what already exists, right?
Yeah.
But you can do this in VR at the moment. You have things that pin.
Yeah.
With video. Yeah. You can walk in if it be a video audio. So you can do that now. But I guess you're saying take it to the next level where there's more things that are smart and have that you could integrate, and then take it to even another level where you're talking about material, even like the way things feel, not just the way they look.
Yeah. I think there's already a bunch of products that explore these things. Like, for example, it can react. Literally, there is some kind of bomb can appear, right? So you can touch this. So yeah, I think it will be fine. Plus, it's certain way wallpaper, the interactive wallpaper also will change how we see things. And interact. Like, imagine you just do like this and something appears immediately, and based AI tracks the line of our conversations. So, and if I mention a book, it appears there. and you can buy this immediately.
Yeah, I can see that. It's very exciting, and it's not that far away, is it really?
Yeah.
So it's like we know that it's on cusp, so very exciting. But one I was going to ask is, what is one like tool thing that you use in your work that you just can't do without? It might be something that's not a typical, like obviously you use Unity, but you use that. Obviously, you can't live without that. But something that's maybe not so obviously.
Yeah,
I
I really can't live without Muji's pens.
Muji bands.
Muji's pens. Do you know this?
No.
Little pencils, get gel.
Okay, so Muji, like the shop that sells.
Yes.
Shop.
They sell pens, and yeah, they're really great.
Pens.
Yeah,
Their pens, right? Got you. Yeah, their pens are amazing.
yeah. I really like the black one with 0.38.
Yeah. Okay. This is very designer's job now. If I get you
Yes.
4-point sizes of pens. Yeah.
It's just nice color, and if you draw something on, I don't know. Usually I use Moleskine, and yeah, all my sketches there. I kind of like this. This is, by the way, a good. Usually I recommend people use something that kind of. Sometimes it might feel, oh, Moleskine, it's expensive, right? So I can buy.
Always get Moleskine.
Yes.
But the thing with Moleskine that always got a can read off a tangent here. There's I don't know how many. There's 100 pages. So
yeah,
is that? And you might say, well, that's yeah. My issue is every time I wanted to draw on it or write on it, I was so almost precious because I knew
yes,
I'm going to use one pen.
Yes.
It is because it's thick. It's so precious that I don't want to use it for just even a quick doodle, which that doodle could be very important.
Yeah.
Even just a quick idea. I'm like, I kind of just wasted a really nice piece of paper for just something that we scribbled down.
Yeah.
That always, I went away from that, and I think the opposite way. I want to get like a binder. I want to get a binder so I could lay it, open it out, black, ink and close it obviously, and also it's usually like a material that's more robust and doesn't date. And then it's just A4 typical white paper is what I like fixing on. But that's why I stopped using Moleskine.
Yes.
Let's say,
but this is a fair
opposite to VR.
Yeah. This is a fair point, but on the other hand, it reinforces a certain type of mindset that your ideas are worth something. So you
sometimes they're not.
Anyway, but
they might not.
Yeah, it's the same thing, but still, you kind of. It just reinforces that you are serious. So, yeah, it's stupid. Yeah, I wasted a few pounds with this page, but you still kind of have this treatment, right, to what you do. So, and I think subconsciously, you start appreciate more your ideas.
Okay, interesting. Okay, so more Muji pens.
Yes.
Which pen?
0.38 is the best one.
Sorry.
0.38. Okay. This is the best.
Bit of a funny one with design, because it's not like saying who's your favorite actor, dead or alive. Might be a bit more easier to come up with. Mine, what I'm going to ask is your dream collaborator. So I guess it could even be a director or film person, even though it's but someone you really admire, may get inspired. For example, myself, I love film, like loads of directors like Scorsese or something like that. Like even though I'm not in that space, if I'd love to see work with him, or how his process and how he works, and I think there's a lot of inspiration you get from someone, even if it is a different industry, how you learn some things and pull that into your own kind of.
Yeah.
I'd love to know who yours might be.
Yeah, I like what Brett Victor does. So his concepts very solid and holistic.
Okay, who he is?
He's an educator, a designer, an engineer. So he has a bunch of great talks about the principles, how he designs thing. So yeah, highly recommend to check it out. So maybe Linus Torvalds, it would be nice to have a look at Linux for VR or something. And maybe Jean Baudrillard, the French philosopher who was a huge inspiration for Wachowski, The Matrix. So he wrote Simulacra, a Simulation. It was the consumerism in our society, how it creates simulations, kind of fake systems. So it would be interesting to see how he would see the VR. So this is established virtual system that augments our already augmented reality, right? Yeah. So this is a few layers of augmentation.
Well, thank you so much, for taking the time. I think you want to do Makomi. Yeah. Is there anything you'd want to ask me, or then?
Yeah, just would like to share that I was thinking that when people think about VR, immersive experience, right? They think about technology, headsets, but actually directing, this is kind of design, immersive experience design, because you think how to make people think that they are a part of this conversation. So actually what directing is, and the question, what do you want to do with this? How do you see yourself in the future? How do you apply these skills to your work day to day?
I think we do it all the time, right? We have to put together a proposal, we put together a concept. Sometimes we put together a video to share, and you need to communicate that. Whether it's a prototype that's business with a video, you try to tell the story. You might have a persona, and you frame that person. You say this person is this person, and you say this is their problems, and this is their kind of, you basically just put it aside. Yeah. And then you kind of tell what they need and how that experience accommodates those needs. So that's kind of how I feel it feeds into my work as it stands, by how I do things. But I also think about presenting. I'd like to think that that's something so, like, you can have the best idea or design, or they do, but if you can't communicate, I'll get that across. Often very quickly, because everyone's very clear. The more senior you go, the less time there is. If you need to really communicate an idea very quickly and often, because of your seniority, the idea is a complex and ambiguous one. So that's seriously, yeah. So I think that's where really the skill, I'd say, if there's any kind of synergy with my actual work, and I'd say it's how you tell a story. I love storytelling through my work, and try and make my work as communicative, understandable as possible. So I'd say that. But in terms of how a podcast would evolve, like, is it going to be, this would just be AI generated? Could be the argument, right? It could just be, we can give people voices, we can say, have a conversation about this, and big conversation. I think what'll happen is the tools to make things like this come together, because it's quite complex process. Takes a bit of time. And if anyone listening or watching, I'm sure you've listened to other podcasts, and those podcasts seem like the two people turning the arc and having a chat, and it's all very easy. But there is a lot of prep, and I think the tools will come together where all those things will be able to come together a lot easier, almost like a co-pilot, and you can still do very high quality work in terms of the production or filming, and have high quality visuals, and that process is a lot easier. But in terms of it being, which often some people have spoken about, and you see it on YouTube and things like that, where people have tried kind of do a little 2-minute podcast, but using AI. And I think that's, the word slop is, I've been given this net to, if everything can be done really easily, then that bar is low. And if everyone could do it, then how unique is it and how valuable is it? And then also, what's the scarcity of this? So scarcity is, can you increase value? Like a diamond is valuable because it's usually rare. And that's, if everything can be done and anyone could do it, and you have lots of slop effectively, then there isn't any scarcity and therefore there isn't value. So I do see that. I think the tools will improve. Yeah, maybe there will be at the first kind of really popular podcast that is AI generated, but to me, it'd be something that, as it stands, I probably would want to do something that is with real people, and I think that would be the value I would add.
Yeah,
making it potentially real, where someone else could do it with Gen AI and maybe make it a lot better than I probably could in that space, maybe with Gen AI. So that's how I see that going. I see tools improving and making more efficient and keeping it real in a world where maybe lots of things might not be real.
And this is, by the way, again, to the question, like a question about people that are afraid of AI. They kind of replay there because it can generate nice visuals, prototypes, something. I think what's the missing part is the AI do not care about your users, right? It's not responsible for this experience. And when people kind of forget that actually our society based on trust. And when I talk with someone, I trust that they're not trying to kind of mislead, fake something. And when you deal with AI, you feel this, people just didn't care. They just use UI to generate. They didn't put any efforts in this. So it's just to collect likes or increase monetization, right? Gain more viewers. So I think this is people will be more educated, and craft will be, people will more appreciate craft and will be able to identify this quicker. Yeah, I think it will be fine. By the way, what about VR and AR? What would you like to create using this technology? Maybe solve some problem you was kind of concerned of.
I don't know if it's a concern. So what do I see would be really useful? I think it's making, I don't know, information more readily available, and being in the moment. For me, I like the idea that being involved in more sport or physical activity type stuff. Obviously, that's kind of direction that some of these products have already gone. There's like the XR is obviously so early on, and then obviously we know that we've got tools on the horizon where it will be a display. For me, some of the problems are almost just making it a bit easier, like around the house or so. I done a concept where we was in a house and it was cooking, for example, and I think we've seen quite a lot of cooking ones. I think the cooking one was obviously a commensurate example there. And how that would help, because that is a very clear use case. Yeah, I think of baking or something, you can't tap things, and speaking only isn't much tricky to kind of to get the detail, and it's quite slow sometimes. But you had a display in going, because even though you've got dough on a thing, there's cooking or so, is quite good. So I think I like that. There's some of the things that in the house, those things where you very clearly can't interact with a screen with your hands. So those ones are kind of low hanging fruit. But then I think there's the sport and so on. There's obviously the other end of the spectrum that, in healthcare, and they can do operations, they can simulate it, and they can practice. Obviously, that's not as tangible as myself. So I think sport is a fantastic one, which would be just really cool, having information being shared to you and you being able to adjust your performance, whatever it may be, accordingly. So I like those two low totable stakes in the home type stuff, and also sport and physical activity.
Have you thought about making a VR version of this podcast, like some kind of virtual room?
I've seen YouTubers talking about how you do it effectively and make a podcast with VR and AR. And I know that some very popular ones are stemming quite a bit of R&D into actually, how can they do it? Because they are always constrained by obviously space and so on. But to me, at this, I mean, obviously this is not this is not a huge operation as it sounds. Potentially, if people are subscribing and it gets bigger and so on and engaging with it, then yeah, maybe there might be something to be done there. You could argue you should do that now, right? And maybe get first to do. But I don't know. It's the format itself is fairly. It's not that intensive. The setup is, but the value in being able to do this, but doing it for AI is just that I could do it quicker. Doesn't necessarily mean quality better.
Yeah.
But I could produce more videos. I could do that.
Yes,
do that more regularly. So that's the only thing. But I don't think it necessarily means quality goes up.
Yeah.
If I was making films, maybe, then I'd see an argument for that because films are very, but the next level, very expensive, very time consuming, very difficult to kind of coordinate everyone because you're usually multiple writers and things like that. Whereas a podcast is almost like lowest, like in terms of complexity to actually do, is actually quite low to do. So almost I think the value of doing, we talking about scarcity.
But it's, I think if you compare it to Scorsese, yeah, it's a little bit lower, but it's still quite a setup. I just thought about how it would be interesting. Just during our conversation, we mentioned Aristotle, Plato, and it would be nice if Aristotle appeared and we could ask, what do you think about this topic? And he would like, I have no idea. I lived 2000 years ago. What are you talking about? Yeah. Just a part of to facilitate, to make it kind of interesting.
Think of that. I was just thinking more kind of putting it together. But yeah, that could add some value to it then.
Just one element.
Yeah, I wonder if the person watching, some people would see value in that, wouldn't they? If we did ask someone and say what their thoughts are, there's conversation. Someone watching that would see value in that, and someone would say, "Why do I care? This person's not real." But the point is that someone will, and that's where, like anything that you do, who's this for?
Yeah.
And we could get, we could get Johnny Ayers to jump on and say, we're talking about this, about Johnny Ayers could jump on and he could say, I'd like to think I could get Johnny Ayers on the show anyway and actually get him on. And we could have the real Johnny Ayers. But you're right. We could get people who are not maybe longer with us and they can have input.
Yeah. Like you tried to cite something and the person appeared and it was like, I never said this.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, sorry.
Well, on now, very philosophical note, thank you so much, Oleg. We always finished 10-15 minutes ago.
Oh, lovely.
And we just kept going. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for preparing me. Thank you.